Hey guys, this is Anime Desu, and this is a recap of My Wife Has No Emotion Season 1. The story begins with a young boy named Takuma, who works late and tells his boss that he will go home after finishing everything. After working for a while, he finally finishes all the work and decides to go home. On the way, he explains that he has lived alone for 3 years. In addition, he is always busy with his work, leaving no time for anything else, including cooking. Because of these needs that he couldn't afford alone, Takuma decides to buy an appliance, in this case, a robot girl who does all his housework for him. Takuma explains that even though it looks like a fancy item, his robot maid is very cheap and secondhand, so she is limited to just cooking and washing dishes. The only thing he needs to do is get gas for the refrigerator, and she alone will prepare a recipe based on what is available. Although the girl is a robot, Takuma feels very happy to see someone making his food, as that is the closest he can get to having a wife. In this, he starts with some strange conversations saying that the two of them could be more attached to simulate a real couple. Then he asks what they will have for dinner, and Mina replies that she will make a rice omelet, as it is his favorite dish. Upon hearing this, Takuma is impressed by the fact that Mina can store this type of information, so he goes back to being an attacker and says that his favorite thing is her, so he asks if she would like to be his wife. Right after he says that, Mina turns to him with a scary look, and then he gets all embarrassed and says he was just joking. Takuma says that the feeling of talking to her is the same as talking to a smart pot, therefore, he realizes that he was talking nonsense when he proposed to marry a robot. After a few minutes, Mina finally finishes, and Takuma admires her. When taking his plate, Takuma is surprised to see that Mina wrote on the food that she loves him.
Mina-chan da na. なんちゃって。つまみも何か作ってくれる？
たくま様、オムライスができました。
Then he goes to the manual and notices that there is no function consistent with what he just saw. In this, he deduces that this is a hidden function. After all, as Mina is a used robot, the previous owner could have changed the programming in some way. At 11:30 in the morning, she decides to go make his lunch just like it was programmed. As for Takuma, he remembers when she suddenly decided to make his favorite dish, which by the way, is also something he had never seen before. So he hurries to help her prepare the food. When seeing him moving to help her, Mina tells him to sit down and wait. After all, she is the one who must do that work. However, Takuma insists on at least making the omelet. Then Mina explains that the name of the recipe is dashimaki omelet. When analyzing the way he is doing things, Mina notices that the boy dropped 2 5mm pieces of shell next to the omelet. In this, Takuma decides to ignore these two small problems and decides to start frying the eggs. However, Mina interrupts him and says that they still need to mix the condiments. While he throws the two already combined eggs into the frying pan, Mina continues watching him and says that he has already let the egg go past its prime, therefore, he should take it out of the frying pan. But Takuma in turn explains that he likes his omelet a little more burnt. However, Mina realizes that he is just making an excuse to continue helping. So she asks him to sit down and wait for her to make the food. However, she does so looking at him with an even more serious look, and so he finally decides to obey her. After all, the instructions don't say whether she knows how to kill or not. During the meal, he talks to himself mentally and says that one day he had a real girlfriend. However, things ended up not working out very well for some reason. Because of that, Takuma gave up trying new relationships. When the afternoon falls, he asks again to help Mina with the dishes. However, she follows the same script as always, telling him to sit down and says that she will finish washing everything in just another 32 seconds, so he doesn't need to worry about that. During the conversation, he tries to talk about what she wrote in her amasu the previous day. However, the words don't come out, and he just says that the food was very good and asks her to do it again. In which he gets angry, she questions whether what she wrote really meant something or whether it was just one more feature that the previous owner implemented in it.
なんでその
問題ありましたか？
諦めていた。けど
32秒後に終わります。
ミーナちゃん、どんなやつがオムライスだけど。すごく美味しかった。これは本当のラブなのか。
During the night, Takuma is unable to sleep because he can't stop thinking about the love that Mina put in his food so suddenly. Out of the blue, she talks to him even though she is in rest mode. Then she asks what he likes, and he says that he likes all the recipes that are programmed in her. But upon hearing this generic answer, Mina repeats the question and Takuma says again that he likes her. Soon after hearing this from him, she goes back into rest mode. The next day, before waking up, Takuma dreams of Mina bringing him his fried head on a tray. He wakes up scared and screaming very loudly. Then Mina goes to him to see what's wrong and gives him his real meal of the day, which by the way isn't her head on a platter. In this, she explains that this is one of the scheduled meals and asks if he would like any other recipe. However, Takuma says no, and then he pulls her by the arm and says that although he said it the night before that he liked her, he wasn't saying that he literally wanted to eat her. In this, Mina simply states that she understood it and explains that her body is made up of various materials, the most common being metals and resin. Therefore, even if she tried to cook herself, eating it would be harmful to her health. After a long day of work, Takuma comes home and begins to realize that he is crazier than Batman because for a while now, he hasn't stopped talking about his feelings with a simple robot. Then he deduces that the fact that he is living alone could be making him very lonely. So Takuma decides to stop this and give up the mind. But as soon as he says that, he starts to wonder again if Mina really likes him. She, in turn, notices that he is drinking an excessive amount of alcohol for his body. However, he continues drinking just to satisfy his desire. Then Mina goes to the tap to get water for him and suggests that he drink water in the same quantity as Takuma drinks beer. When he tries to resist, saying he is not able to drink all that water, she makes him drink by force. After finishing the glass of water, he asks her to bring him even more beer. Then she goes to the refrigerator to get the last 2 cans that were left. But instead of giving him the drinks, she goes to the kitchen and throws it all away. Mina deceives him, saying that his beer supply has already run out, in which case Takuma starts to lose more than dial-up internet and takes advantage of being drunk to open up more to her. Then Takuma asks what he is to her. To this, she responds that he is her husband. After all, he himself said that he wanted her to be his wife. Upon hearing this, Takuma remembers the moment he asked her to be his wife, therefore, Mina really is speaking the truth. She explains that she researched the meaning of wife on the internet and came to this conclusion based on the information she had access to. But when she saw him quiet, Mina suggested that her interpretation of the matter was wrong. He says he will correct her. However, Takuma says that she doesn't need to take back any of her words. After all, she is correct in saying that she is his wife. Then he starts to be happy to consider that the two of them are a couple. But at the same time, he feels like a crazy person because he really is. In this, Mina decides to learn more about being a wife and asks what tasks she should do to fulfill this duty. Then Takuma says that they should spend more time together and make miso soup for him every day. But upon hearing this, Mina says that she already performs these tasks normally. Then Takuma says that in addition, he also wants to be able to help with the housework. However, Mina states that this would significantly reduce the efficiency of her service. When she sees him already entering a state of sleep, she decides to take his mattress and then prepares him to sleep. Whereupon Takuma asks her to lie down next to him as husband and wife usually sleep together. However, Mina explains that to get quality sleep, he needs to sleep alone. But Takuma continues to insist until she finally obeys him. However, he asks her to close her eyes as they are causing him fear. After that, he starts to get that way when he sees a supposed girl sleeping next to his side. Then he comments quietly about his condition, and Mina, in turn, asks what it would be like to stay like that. However, he chooses to remain quiet and tells her to go to sleep. But she insists on this subject. When searching on the internet, she discovers that he is sexually excited.
ミーナちゃん、一緒に。
かしこまりました。
いや、大丈夫。
ムラムラとは何でしょうか。
忘れて。
は、性的に興奮。
もしかしてネット検索し。
呼吸が乱れて苦しそう。
After that night's sleep, Takuma wakes up the next day with his head hurting because he drank a lot the night before. To make matters worse, he can remember everything he did, and that in itself already makes him extremely ashamed of himself. In this, Mina goes to him to serve him his breakfast as if nothing strange had happened. Upon seeing her, he notices her with her eyes half open, as if Mina was still sleepy. However, she tries to demonstrate that she is okay and says there's nothing wrong with her. In this, Takuma touches her eyes to check, and Mina advises him not to do so as his vision units are very delicate. Furthermore, she claims that all his systems are working perfectly. That said, she asks how he's feeling that day. After all, it's very likely that he has a huge hangover from what he did the day before. Takuma, in turn, says that he's better now. At the same time, remembering the glass of water she made him drink, he realizes that it saved him from being with an even stronger hangover. During the conversation, Takuma explains to Mina about what he said about her eyes. He says that they were scaring him because she was looking at him too closely. That, in turn, makes his heart race. After all, he considers her eyes to be very beautiful, so she just stares at him and serves his meal. This is the end of My Wife Has No Emotion Episode 1. Thank you so much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you updated with our latest content. See you in the next video.